Have you ever wondered why some people, marked by destiny, seem to walk alone while the rest of the world pairs up? Chosen one, your singleness is not a curse, not a punishment. It is a divine strategy. This season of solitude is not life leaving you behind. It is heaven pulling you ahead. There is something different about you, something sacred that demands protection. And that protection often comes disguised as silence, as waiting, as separation. The truth nobody dares to tell you is that what feels like emptiness is actually God creating space inside you. Space for wisdom, space for power, space for a purpose so great that no ordinary bond could carry it. You see, relationships built outside of divine timing are not just distractions. They are traps that can quietly drain your destiny drop by drop until you wake up years later, wondering why the fire in your spirit has dimmed. But you were never meant to dim. You were meant to burn brighter than those around you. That's why your singleness is not rejection, it's refinement. It's the secret training ground where heaven prepares you to step into a level of authority most people will never touch. So stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I will reveal why chosen ones must remain single, why heaven keeps you hidden, and why this silence around you is not punishment, but promotion. Every revelation I'm about to share will peel back another layer until you see clearly that this season is not holding you back, it's pushing you forward. And before we dive in, I want you to do 3 things right now. Hit the like button so this word reaches more chosen ones across the world. Subscribe if you haven't yet, so you never miss the guidance heaven sends your way. And comment 99 below. Why 99? Because Jesus spoke of leaving the 99 sheep to go after the one. And if you are watching this, it means heaven is chasing after you, singling you out, proving that you are worth being found. Now, let's begin. Being single doesn't mean you've been overlooked. It doesn't mean you've been left behind. And it absolutely doesn't mean you're incomplete. For the chosen ones, singleness is something far more sacred. It is separation, a holy distinction, a season where heaven deliberately pulls you out of the crowd, not because you're unwanted, but because you carry something that cannot be exposed too soon, something that must be guarded at all costs. Think about it. How many times have you felt out of place, even when you were surrounded by people? How many times have you smiled in a room full of laughter, yet deep inside you knew you didn't belong to that rhythm, that noise, that atmosphere? That feeling was never loneliness. That was God whispering to you, I have set you apart. You see, the world teaches that being single is an absence, that without a partner you are lacking. But heaven has a different definition. To be separated is not to be empty. It is to be reserved. Reserved for a mission that cannot be diluted by wrong connections, wrong influences, or wrong timings. If your calling is extraordinary, how could your path ever look ordinary? And here's the hidden truth. Separation is often misunderstood. People may look at you with pity, wondering why you still haven't found someone. They may project their fears onto you, as if your life is somehow incomplete without a partner. But what they don't understand is that you are not waiting for someone to complete you. You are being completed by the one who created you. Every day of your singleness is shaping you, strengthening you, refining your vision. The chosen cannot afford to scatter emotional energy into relationships that were never ordained by God. Because every misaligned connection doesn't just cost time, it costs clarity, it costs focus, it costs momentum. That's why heaven keeps you separate. You might see it as closed doors, unanswered texts, relationships that never took off. But behind it all, God was guarding you, protecting you, building a shield around your destiny so that nothing and no one could dilute what He has placed within you. But let's go deeper. Separation is not simply about keeping you away from others. It's also about drawing you closer to Him. When you are separated, you hear His voice more clearly. You notice signs you would have ignored before. You discern motives behind people's actions that others overlook. And it's not because you're suspicious, but because heaven is sharpening your discernment. In separation, your spiritual eyes open wider. What looks invisible to the world becomes undeniable to you. This is why chosen ones often struggle in social settings. Not because they are shy, not because they are antisocial, but because they feel the weight of misalignment. When the conversation is shallow, when the energy is low, when the motives are impure, something in your spirit stirs. That discomfort is not a curse. It is confirmation. It is heaven telling you, you do not belong here. You are not called to fit in. You are called to stand out. And let me tell you, there's a dangerous lie the world spreads, that separation equals isolation. But that is false. Isolation is being cut off. Separation is being lifted up. Isolation drains you. Separation empowers you. Isolation leaves you feeling empty. Separation fills you with vision. The two may look similar from the outside, but their purposes are worlds apart. When heaven separates you, it is not abandonment. It is alignment. So the next time you feel the sting of being misunderstood, the next time you wonder why you can't seem to fit into the spaces where everyone else seems comfortable, remind yourself of this. The greater the call, the tighter the filter. Not everyone can go where you are going. Not everyone can walk at the speed you are walking. Not everyone can handle the fire you are carrying. Ask yourself this now. How many times have you felt out of place, even when surrounded by people? Did you think it was loneliness? No. It was never loneliness. It was divine separation. It was the hand of God marking you as different, protecting you from wasting your oil on connections that would only spill it on the ground. And here's the twist. Separation always comes before elevation. Every chosen one in history had to walk through it. Moses in the wilderness, David in the caves, Elijah by the brook, Jesus in the desert. Alone, yet never abandoned. Hidden, yet never forgotten. Separated so they could be sent. And you, chosen one, are no different. The world may not understand it. Friends may question it. Family may worry about it, but you don't owe them explanations. Your singleness is not about their timelines or their expectations. It is about heaven's strategy. And when you embrace it, when you stop seeing separation as a burden and start seeing it as a gift, everything changes. Because here lies the mystery. What you call waiting is actually acceleration in disguise. The longer you remain aligned in separation, the faster heaven positions you when the time is right. What looks like delay is really God keeping you on His clock, not man's. And now, as you let that truth sink in, let me ask you again. Have you felt out of place, even when surrounded by people? That's your sign. That's your confirmation. And in the next part of this message, I'll show you why this very separation is not just keeping you safe, it's forging you into something unstoppable. Singleness for the chosen is not a pause button on life. It is a battlefield disguised as silence, a training ground disguised as waiting. To the world, it may look like nothing is happening, but in reality, everything is happening. This is the arena where God toughens your spirit, disciplines your mind, and burns away every weakness that could sabotage your destiny. It is not soft. It is not easy. It is not comfortable. It is military training, and no soldier is ever sent to war without first being tested in private. Think about a soldier in boot camp. They don't wake up when they feel like it. They don't train only when they're motivated. They are pushed to the limit, broken down, reshaped, and rebuilt into something unrecognizable. That's what God is doing with you in this season. While others are running after relationships, chasing validation, losing themselves in distractions, you are in God's barracks. You are in His forge. And He is not preparing you for a mediocre assignment. He is preparing you for a war that will shift generations. Here's the mystery. In singleness, you are forced to confront battles that others escape by hiding behind companionship. When you don't have someone to distract you, you face yourself. You face your fears. You face your patterns. You face your shadows. And that confrontation is brutal, but it is necessary. Because the chosen cannot walk into destiny carrying unresolved battles from within. God will not allow you to conquer nations if you haven't conquered yourself first. That's why this training is demanding. You are learning discipline. Discipline in how you use your time. Discipline in how you govern your emotions. Discipline in how you speak, how you pray, how you dream. Nothing about this is accidental. Heaven is sharpening you like a blade. Every strike, every fire, every test is forging you into a weapon that cannot be broken. And here is the paradox. Singleness feels like delay, but it is actually acceleration. Because every day you spend in this training ground, you are skipping lessons that others will have to learn later through heartbreak, through failure, through regret. God is giving you wisdom early. He is fortifying your identity before the enemy even has the chance to attack it. He is teaching you resilience so that when storms come, and they will, you will not break like fragile glass. You will stand like steel. The Bible is filled with examples of this divine training. Joseph spent years in a prison cell, forgotten by men, but never abandoned by God. In those years of forced singleness, he learned humility, patience, and leadership. When the doors opened, he didn't walk out as a boy with dreams. He stepped out as a man who could govern a nation. David spent his youth in the fields, alone with sheep, while his brothers lived more visible lives. But in that obscurity, David learned to fight lions and bears. He sharpened his courage, his skill, and his faith. So when Goliath stood before him, David wasn't intimidated, he was ready. And Jesus himself, before healing the sick, before walking on water, before preaching to thousands, lived 30 hidden years of preparation. 30 years of silence, discipline, and growth before 3 years of public ministry that shook the world forever. That is the pattern of heaven. The greater the destiny, the longer the training. And you, chosen one, are in the middle of it. That's why your singleness feels intense. That's why you face pressure that others can't relate to. It's not because God is ignoring you. It's because He is molding you into someone unshakable. Someone who can be trusted with power. Someone who can carry anointing without letting pride, lust, or fear corrupt it. And make no mistake, this training is not just about what you gain. It's also about what you lose. You lose the need for constant validation. You lose the craving for shallow connections. You lose the weakness of folding under pressure. Each loss is actually a liberation. Each stripping away is God removing weights that would have slowed you down later. Because the destiny you are carrying cannot afford dead weight. But here's what you need to understand. Training is temporary. Soldiers don't live forever in the camp. They train to be sent. And the same God who placed you in this furnace will be the one to pull you out when you are ready. The difference is, when you walk out of this season, you will not be who you were when you walked in. You will have eyes that see differently, ears that hear differently, a spirit that discerns differently. You will carry authority that cannot be faked, and resilience that cannot be shaken. And maybe right now, you are exhausted. Maybe you are asking God why this season feels so heavy, why the battles are so constant, why the silence feels so loud. Let me tell you, it is because you are almost there. Soldiers are pushed the hardest right before graduation. The greatest pressure comes before the breakthrough. And if you are watching this right now, it means you are closer to stepping into destiny than you realize. So do not despise this training. Do not curse the silence. Do not mistake this singleness for punishment. This is the training ground of heaven, and every tear, every prayer, every lonely night is building in you the strength to stand where few can stand. And now I'll leave you with this thought. If Joseph had never been in the prison, he would have never reached the palace. If David had never been in the fields, he would have never faced Goliath. If Jesus had skipped his hidden years, the world would have never been redeemed. What is God preparing you for in this secret season? Because, chosen one, what looks like delay is actually destiny in disguise. Not every love story is a blessing. Some are traps, carefully wrapped in charm, beauty, and the illusion of comfort. To the untrained eye, they look like gifts. To the unprepared heart, they feel like destiny. But to the chosen, they are tests, and failing them can cost years, even decades, of purpose. Singleness is not only about preparation, it is about protection. It is God's shield against alliances that look like light, but are born in shadows. One of the greatest dangers a chosen one faces is not always open warfare from the enemy. It's subtle entanglement with the wrong person. See, the devil doesn't always come with horns and fire. Sometimes he comes as a smile, as late-night conversations, as someone who understands you like no one else. And while you're distracted by how good it feels, your focus shifts, your energy drains, and before you know it, your destiny is no longer in sharp pursuit. A wrong alliance does not have to destroy you violently. It only needs to delay you long enough that you miss divine timing. The Bible is clear about this danger. Do not be unequally yoked. Imagine two oxen tied together, one pulling north, the other pulling south. Neither of them advances. That's what happens when a chosen connects with someone who does not share the same vision, values, or spiritual alignment. You may call it love, but in reality, it is sabotage. Because the one pulling against your purpose doesn't have to hate you to hinder you. They just need to love themselves more than your calling. Let me ask you this. Have you ever felt a relationship, even a subtle one, pulling you away from your calling? Have you ever noticed your prayers becoming shorter, your passion weaker, your focus scattered, all because someone took up space in your heart that should have been reserved for God? That is no coincidence. That is a warning. Heaven whispers through those moments, showing you that not every connection is meant to be a covenant. And here's the hidden truth few dare to say. Some of the most dangerous relationships are not the obviously toxic ones. They are the almost good ones. The ones that seem harmless, that come with kindness, laughter, and attention. They may not be evil people. They may even carry good intentions. But good is not the same as God. A gift out of season is still a curse. A blessing outside of alignment is still a burden. The enemy doesn't need to steal your anointing outright. He just needs to send someone who absorbs your focus, distracts your passion, and keeps you orbiting around their needs instead of your calling. He doesn't need to burn down your destiny with fire. He only needs to drown it slowly in compromise. That is why so many chosen ones feel their light dim, not because of direct attacks, but because of quiet entanglements they thought were innocent. Look through Scripture. Samson's downfall wasn't a battlefield of swords. It was an alliance with Delilah, someone he thought he could handle, someone who seemed safe but slowly disarmed him until his strength was gone. Solomon, the wisest man alive, was led astray by alliances with foreign wives whose hearts did not serve his God. Even the mighty can fall when they choose wrongly who to love. That's why God, in His mercy, sometimes keeps you single, because He would rather you endure the sting of waiting than the agony of betrayal. And here's the urgency. Chosen one, you cannot afford to exchange destiny for distraction. Your mission is too great. Your calling is too rare. Your anointing is too costly. And yet, all it takes is one wrong alliance to derail everything. That's why heaven intervenes. That's why some relationships never progress no matter how hard you try. That's why the person you thought was the one suddenly walks away. You call it heartbreak. Heaven calls it rescue. But protection requires participation. God can block doors, but you must stop trying to kick them back open. You must learn to discern, not just with your emotions, but with your spirit. Ask yourself, does this connection pull me closer to God or further away? Does this relationship make me sharper, stronger, more focused, or does it dull my edge and scatter my attention? Does this person align with my destiny, or are they unknowingly dragging me off course? Because here's the sobering truth. Destiny doesn't always collapse with one big decision. Often, it erodes through small compromises. One missed prayer, one delayed obedience, one shift of priorities. Until months later, you realize you've drifted miles from where you were meant to be. That's the silent power of wrong alliances. They don't announce themselves as destruction. They sneak in as comfort. So listen closely. Your singleness is not punishment. It is divine insurance. It is heaven making sure you don't lose years of your life to someone who cannot carry the weight of your mission. It is God keeping you from being tied to a person who looks like a partner, but is secretly a parasite. And if you've ever felt that tension, that invisible pull between your calling and your relationship, then you already know the truth. Something has to break, or your destiny will. And I want to leave you with this image. A rocket cannot launch if it remains tied to the launch pad. No matter how much fuel it carries, no matter how much fire burns beneath it, it will never ascend if it's bound. Wrong alliances are those ropes. And singleness? Singleness is the cutting of those ropes. Now, if God is this protective over who connects to you, if heaven is this intentional about who walks beside you, then the question becomes terrifying and exciting at once. Who is worthy to walk with you when the time is right? Here is a truth the world refuses to admit. Divided focus destroys progress. You cannot run toward destiny if half of your energy is tied up trying to keep someone else satisfied. You cannot pour yourself fully into the mission God has placed in your spirit if your attention is constantly being tugged by someone who does not share the same fire. And that is why singleness, far from being a prison, is the most powerful position a chosen one can stand in. Because when you are single, you are free. Free to focus. Free to accelerate. Free to give God 100% of your heart without compromise. Think of it like this. Imagine running a marathon with a backpack full of stones. Every step is slower. Every breath is harder. The race that was meant to be exhilarating becomes exhausting. That is what divided focus does. It weighs you down, slows your progress, and steals the joy out of the journey. But when you run without the extra weight, when you run with focus, every stride carries you further. Every breath fills you with power, and you begin to cover ground that others can only dream of. That is the power of singleness. It is not absence, it is acceleration. While others are distracted by drama, you are refining your gifts. While others are consumed with temporary thrills, you are building eternal impact. While others are chasing validation, you are chasing vision. And here's the mystery. When you stop chasing blessings, blessings start chasing you. Because blessings are not meant to be hunted down, they are meant to be attracted. And nothing attracts blessings like pure, undivided focus on purpose. The Apostle Paul understood this principle. He wrote that the single man or woman can focus fully on the things of the Lord, while the married one must divide attention between pleasing God and pleasing their spouse. Notice, Paul was not condemning marriage. He was revealing a secret. Singleness is a season of concentrated firepower. It is the one time in your life when your vision doesn't have to be filtered, negotiated, or watered down to fit someone else's pace. It is you, your God, and the mission. And when those three are aligned, nothing can stop the acceleration. But let's go deeper. Focus is not just about time management. It is about spiritual sharpness. When you are single, your spirit is not dulled by unnecessary compromises. Your discernment stays sharp because it is not constantly clouded by emotional entanglements. Your creativity flourishes because your mind has space to dream without interruption. Your prayers carry greater authority because they are not diluted by double-mindedness. Focus is not a luxury for the chosen one, it is survival. And here's where the urgency comes in. We live in a world engineered to distract you. Endless noise, endless options, endless invitations to waste time and scatter energy. If the enemy cannot destroy you outright, he will distract you into stagnation. That's why God guards you in singleness, to keep your focus intact. Because the enemy knows something most people don't. A distracted chosen one is harmless, but a focused chosen one is unstoppable. Let me give you a picture. Think of sunlight. When scattered, it warms but does not burn. but when concentrated through a magnifying glass, that same light ignites fire. Your focus works the same way. Scattered energy keeps you busy but ineffective. Concentrated focus makes you dangerous, to darkness, to delay, to every obstacle standing in your way. That is what singleness gives you. The ability to take all the fire in you and aim it in one direction until the impossible breaks. And maybe you've already felt this. Have you noticed that during your single years, ideas seem to flow faster? That when you're not entangled in emotional chaos, doors open more smoothly? That when you fully immerse yourself in God's purpose, opportunities seem to find you without you even asking? That's not random. That is acceleration. Heaven responds to focus. God multiplies momentum when He sees you walking without distraction. But here's the warning. Acceleration is dangerous if you don't know where you're going. A car can only drive at full speed if the road is clear and the driver is steady. If your focus is divided, acceleration becomes destruction. That is why God insists on singleness first, because He must align your vision before He multiplies your speed. He knows that giving you power without focus would destroy you. But once your focus is secure, He releases acceleration that leaves others stunned. And I want you to feel this. Every prayer you pray in this season is laying tracks. Every act of discipline is tightening the engine. Every sacrifice is fueling momentum. You may not see it yet, but heaven is setting you up for a season where everything begins to align. And when that moment comes, your progress will not be slow. It will be sudden. It will be explosive. What others took decades to build, you will build in years. What others struggled to maintain, you will accomplish with ease. Because focus always leads to acceleration. Let me leave you with this image. Imagine a bow and arrow. The arrow cannot fly unless it is first pulled back. The tension, the stillness, the waiting. It feels restrictive, but it is actually preparation for speed. The further the pullback, the greater the acceleration. Your singleness is that pullback. It feels like restraint, but it is actually power building inside you. And when God finally releases you, the acceleration will be so great that nothing will be able to stop your flight. So the question is this: are you willing to embrace the pullback, to honor the focus, to guard your acceleration? Because if you do, you will step into a season where your life becomes unstoppable momentum. And now, chosen one, consider this carefully. If singleness is the stage of focus and acceleration, then what happens when God decides it's time to release you? Singleness isn't about waiting idly. It isn't sitting in a dark room counting the days until someone finally enters to complete you. No, chosen one, your singleness is a sacred classroom, a temple of transformation. This is where you grow. This is where you master yourself. This is where your spirit matures into unshakable strength. If earlier seasons were about separation, training, and acceleration, this one is about something even deeper. Peace. A peace so profound it cannot be taken from you. And once you build that inner peace, you become unmovable. Because here's the truth. The world is loud. Everyone is rushing, posting, competing, pretending. Most people measure their worth by noise, how many followers, how many compliments, how many people want them. But the legacy of the chosen is not built in noise. It is built in silence. It is forged in the hidden years, in the seasons where no one is applauding, no one is watching, no one is celebrating, yet heaven is recording every step. It is in your singleness that emotional resilience is forged. This is where you stop depending on someone else's validation to feel valuable. This is where you learn that your worth is not tied to attention, but to assignment. This is where you discover that peace is not the absence of storms, but the ability to remain steady while the storm rages. And this peace, chosen one, is not a luxury. It is a weapon. When you carry inner peace, distractions lose their power, manipulation loses its grip, and pressure loses its voice. But let's go deeper. Legacy begins in these silent years. The future leader is formed not on stages, but in secret. The songs of tomorrow are written in today's solitude. The authority you will carry in the future is carved in the unseen battles you fight today. Think of Moses, 40 years in the desert before leading a nation. Think of Joseph, hidden in dungeons before ruling a kingdom. Think of Esther, prepared in silence before stepping into the palace. Every chosen one in history had their years of obscurity, because transformation always happens in private before it manifests in public. And what exactly is being built in you right now? 3 things: clarity, resilience, and legacy. Clarity, because when you are single, your vision clears. You're no longer drowning in someone else's expectations or distracted by noise. You begin to hear your own voice. More importantly, you hear God's voice. And once you know His voice in the silence, no amount of chaos can confuse you later. Resilience, because every moment you endure alone becomes a muscle of strength. When you pray without anyone watching, you build unseen fire. When you push through loneliness without breaking, you become unbreakable. This resilience is what will keep you standing when others fall. And finally, legacy. Because what you are doing now, in the quiet, is not just for you. It will echo into generations. Every skill you sharpen, every book you read, every prayer you lift, every battle you fight alone, it becomes part of the inheritance you leave behind. Singleness is not wasted time. It is investment. An investment always multiplies. But here's a revelation. If you cannot lead yourself in silence, you cannot lead others in noise. If you cannot build peace within, you will never carry peace without. Leadership does not begin when people follow you. It begins when you learn to follow discipline, wisdom, and purpose in the unseen places. That's why this season matters so much. God is not only preparing you for influence, He is preparing you for impact that outlives you. Because a true legacy is not money, not fame, not applause. It is transformation. It is the lives that shift because you lived. And that kind of legacy can only come from someone who knows themselves, who has walked through silence without breaking, who has mastered the art of standing alone with God and finding peace in His presence. So I ask you, how are you using your singleness? Are you wasting it on comparison, jealousy, scrolling, complaining? Or are you using it to cultivate peace, discipline, and growth? Because the difference between a wasted season and a legendary one is not time, it is intention. The same years others call empty, you can turn into your foundation, and that foundation will hold everything you build in the future. And maybe right now, you feel the weight of silence. You wonder why no one sees you, why no one understands you, why the years feel quiet. Let me tell you something dangerous and beautiful at the same time. Heaven does its best work in silence. Diamonds are formed in the dark. Seeds grow underground. Oil is pressed where no one is watching. And you, chosen one, are in that pressing right now. It feels lonely, but it is legacy being born. So don't despise the silence. Don't rush out of the season. Don't think you're being punished. Instead, understand, this is the part of your story that will make everything else possible. Because once you emerge from this, you won't just have peace for yourself, you will carry peace for others. You won't just be strong for you, you'll be strong for generations. You won't just live your life, you'll leave a legacy. And now, let this question linger in your spirit. If your hidden years are this powerful, imagine what will happen the moment God decides to unveil you to the world. Chosen one, don't see your singleness as a prison. See it as the sacred workshop where God Himself is chiseling your strength, molding your wisdom, and forging your unshakable identity. This season is not about what you lack. It is about who you are becoming. Heaven has hidden you, not to punish you, but to prepare you. The silence around you is not emptiness. It is God's voice sharpening you for battles others could never survive. The world may pressure you. People may not understand you. Some may whisper that you are behind, that you are incomplete, that you are missing out. but heaven is smiling because you are not missing out. You are being built up. You are being equipped for something so extraordinary, so divine, that when it finally manifests, even those who doubted you will have no choice but to admit, this one was set apart. And here is the revelation you must carry in your spirit. Singleness was never a delay. It was never rejection. It was your greatest preparation. The solitude you endure is actually power being stored. The tears you cried alone are oil being poured. The nights that felt heavy are seeds that will soon break the ground with glory. So today, I want you to declare it boldly in the comments. I embrace my divine preparation. Write it as a prophetic act, because when you put it into words, you align with heaven's plan. And as you do, chains will break, confusion will lift, strength will rise. Because the moment you embrace it, you step out of weakness and into power. Never forget this. Singleness was never your weakness. It was always your greatest weapon. Now go forth, chosen one. Carry your fire, walk in your calling, shake the ground you step on, because your preparation is over and your unveiling is near. Type it now. I embrace my divine preparation. Let the world know you are ready.